Hello and thanks for joining me again here at the Life Kawaii. This is my very long and overdue Astarottes Toy episode 3 recap and review. So I just finished watching the episode and I have to say I'm a little surprised. So they start this episode by introducing you to Naoya's daughter, except that it's Asaha, and we thought the whole time that Asaha was actually his sister. So he's 23 and Asaha is 10, so 23 minus 10, yeah, so he was pretty promiscuous. If she was born whenever he was 13, then that means that she was probably conceived about the time that he was 12. So we get some backstory there that is a bit surprising. Yeah, Naoya turns out to be a little bit of a promiscuous, pervy boy, and we don't really have anything else to go off of other than that at the moment. I'm assuming that they will branch out on that topic later as needed. The first scene that we have, Asaha is meeting Princess Lotte, and as you can imagine, just like the rest of us, Princess Lotte is a little surprised to find out, first of all, that Naoya has a child at all, and also that his child is the same age as her. So she reacts quite harshly from surprise and also a little bit of envy, which we hear a little bit more about later. And she responds by saying negative things about Naoya in front of his daughter. Asaha gets upset by that, and of course she storms out of the room because she doesn't want to hear anybody say anything bad about her father. And in the same moment, we see that moment of realization on Princess Lotte's face when she realizes that she just had that inevitable moment that we all have whenever we're in a heated conversation and we say something that we know we should not have said. So she realizes that she has that foot in the mouth moment, and you can just see it on her face. And she's quiet, and then the scene just sort of ends, and we're left not really knowing what's going to happen after that. So we cut to a scene with Princess Lotte in her room, and she's having a brief discussion with Aphie, her bodacious handmaid, who makes the magical cow milk from her breasts. I'm sorry, I digress, but that was just, every time I see her, all I think is like of a walking human cow with milk. Anyways, I'm drifting. The point is, Aphie meets with Princess Lotte in her room, and we get to see Princess Lotte admit that she messed up. So Aphie compliments her, and she says, you know, that's one of your best traits. You know, you always admit pretty quickly when you've done something wrong. And that embarrasses Princess Lotte, but you can kind of tell it pleases her too. And she heads upstairs to her room to go to bed for the evening, and you can tell she's already contemplating ideas of, you know, how am I going to handle this tomorrow? What am I going to do? How do I apologize? And she is thinking about what she's going to do to fix the situation that she just created. The next scene that we have, Asaha is with her father, Naoya, and they're in his room, and she's asking him, as any child would who just saw their parents insulted in their workplace. And yes, it is an unusual work environment, but it is still his job, and he's at work. And this situation was definitely not PR appropriate, so Asaha knows that, and she asks him, do you really intend to stay here with these people who treat you badly? And instead of agreeing with her, as most people probably would when they feel like they've been slanted, he says instead, you know, can you try a little harder? And that's kind of a surprising moment, because I think most people would not react that way if they've been insulted, especially at work. So he looks down at the garden that Princess Lotte takes care of every day, and he tells his daughter, you know, did you know that she takes care of all these flowers? And he basically opens Asaha's eyes to see a part of Princess Lotte that she obviously hasn't. And she says, you know, I will try harder. So she has made up her mind that she is going to befriend the princess, and it doesn't seem like it's as much for her sake as it truly is for her father's sake, but she's going to do it regardless. And the next scene, we cut to the very next morning, and she comes into the room where she expects to find Princess Lotte, and she's ready to just take this head on, become friends with her, and move on. And we find out that Princess Lotte is not there. She is at school, which is a little bit of a surprise too, because you would expect that a princess would have her own team of educators or private tutors or some kind of senpai who would just be teaching her every day at a much higher level of education because she is the princess. But she actually just attends the local academy with everyone else's kids. So Asaha is very excited about this idea, and instead of waiting for her to come home, she says, I should enroll in that school too. That cool school that has like all the other creatures from realms that I've never met. I should go there too. And she kind of tricks her dad into it because Nalia's not really sure if he wants her to go there or not, and she uses his own teachings from being a good parent against him, and she says, you're always the one who's telling me that if I have a fight, I should make up as soon as possible. Well, this would be the absolute as soon as possible moment, would be if I went to this school and enrolled with all of these other creatures and met Princess Lotte there. So Judy ends up asking her measurements, and she pulls together a school uniform for her, and she heads off to school. The next scene, we see her in the classroom with, by the way, a very cute little teacher. We don't get to see a lot of creatures in this series that actually have character traits that really stand out to show that they're not human. Yes, Princess Lotte has a tail, but we don't really get to see a whole lot of other things. So it was cute to see the teacher in the classroom have cat ears. And no, she's not wearing cat ears, she actually has cat ears. So that was pretty cute, I thought. And it was good that they finally added in some other things that were a little less human. So Asaha stands in front of the classroom and does the outrageous and unthinkable. She actually points out Princess Lotte and says hi to her in front of everybody, which this is something that the kids at this school would just not do. So she introduces herself, and then she immediately runs up and she sits right next to the princess. And at some point she surprises the princess so much because she kind of sexually harasses her a little bit in school. You'll get a good laugh out of it. And Princess Lotte stands up and ends up distracting the whole class. And there's a very cute moment where you can see the whole class is shocked because she probably hasn't made a peep the entire time she's been at the school. And there's a very cute anime moment where all these little kids turn around and they're just staring at her, and they all have these little round petite anime faces and bodies and huge eyes, and it's just very cute. Highly recommend freezing on that moment so you can see all that nice anime drawing. Really enjoyed that. So after the class is over, Asaha leaves and she ends up meeting a few other girls who are in her classroom, and she becomes friends with them pretty quickly. And you can see off to the side that Princess Lotte is kind of jealously watching that, but not in a mean way, more just in a kind of woe is me, I wish I had friends way. And Asaha walks out with these girls, and when the girls finally get comfortable enough, they start to ask her questions about the princess. So the girls in her classroom want to know how she knows the princess, are they friends, is there anything else that she can tell them about her, and Asaha does what would be normal in the human realm, and she just says, well, do you just want to ask her to come have lunch with us? And the girls are kind of shocked by this because it feels like something they can't really do with a princess. So Asaha gets them to come around to the idea of inviting her to come have lunch with them. And after this scene ends, we see Asaha coming into this garden where she sees the princess's tail, and she says, "Hey, I see you, let's talk." And she doesn't really mention anything about the fight immediately. She just kind of asks her how she's doing and what's up. And Princess Lotte, before even realizing it, because she dislikes men so much, immediately starts doing the very thing that she messed up with the night before, and she starts insulting Asaha's dad. And Asaha interrupts her immediately, but instead of fussing at her, because she promised her father that she would try harder to understand Princess Lotte, she instead says, "You know, how would you feel if you heard somebody saying something like that about your family?" And Princess Lotte has a flashback where she remembers her mother in a garden of flowers, and she finally realizes that even though she sees Naoya as just another man and she just dislikes all men, it finally dawns on her that she can dislike men, but that doesn't change the fact that they're still people's family members. So for the first time, it's like she realizes that he is something beyond her small idea of just despising men. And she sees him as someone who does have a family, does have people who care about him. And that's a very nice moment. And for the first time, she actually looks at Asaha in the eyes, which Asaha notices immediately, and she apologizes. And then they have a very nice moment where Princess Lotte starts to open up to her, and after Asaha accepts her apology, she then feels more comfortable sharing with her some other things about herself. And this is an important moment for Asaha because she finally gets to see that there are other sides to Princess Lotte. So Princess Lotte admits to her, "I've been jealous of you twice now. I was jealous whenever Naoya said that you were his daughter, and I was also jealous that you were able to do what I couldn't the whole time I've been at the school. You made friends on the first day." So they finally have an understanding of each other, and instead of fighting, you can tell that this is going to be the beginning of friendship between both of them. And they start heading back to the school together, where they run into the other girls that Asaha was just speaking with, and one of the girls tells them, "Oh my gosh, did you hear there's a human?" And they're all horrified by it. You can tell Princess Lotte is more of the mindset of, "Oh gosh, how did he get into the school building?" And Asaha is thrilled because she knows the only human in the entire realm is her dad. So she's excited that her dad is there. And they all go running around the corner to be confronted by what they think is a human by a poorly made description from two of the other girls earlier. So we run into this llama slash camel creature. It's confusing because it's in a weird color and it has kind of like a 1970s swag hairdo. Yeah, kind of looks like a camel. And it runs at them, and Princess Lotte has a moment where she actually realizes that the girls, even if they don't speak to her that much, they don't hate her because they all offer themselves up as a form of protection for her against this camel llama thing. And it's a nice moment for her to realize that she may not have friends at the moment who talk to her every day, but she does, in a sense, have friends that she wasn't even aware that she had. And they're all saved by this woman-eating creature that they don't understand by who else but Naoya, the human that they think they're supposed to be scared of. So he feeds the poor animal who was just hungry and trying to find some food. And then it's satiated and fine and heading back to the zoo where it's supposed to be. And after this, we see Naoya give his daughter Asaha her bento, which she is impatiently waiting for, and he reminds her to have good manners. And then he surprises Princess Lotte by giving her one as well, and that's a nice moment because she is blushing, and she doesn't quite want to accept it because she still doesn't like him very much, but she's also happy that someone thought of her and brought her a gift. And of course, the bento box is the ever important way to show somebody that you care for them by putting all of your love into the food. So this particular episode has a very cute Japanese ending. Princess Lotte is sitting at the lunch table, picnic table outside with all of her new friends. So Asaha has essentially made friends on her first day of school, and not only made friends, but given Princess Lotte friends that she already had that she didn't realize she had. So she further surprises her by telling her that she's happy that they made up and that they're friends now, and she actually kind of sexually harasses the princess a second time. So the first time was whenever she was sitting in the classroom and she was blowing on the princess's ear, and now she leans over and she just gives her a big wet one right on the cheek. It's very cute, and it's the first time that Princess Lotte turns and she informally uses her first name. She says Asaha, and all the other girls then use that as a sort of, I don't want to say door opening, but they definitely see it as a moment where they can informally use the princess's name for the first time ever, and they take it. All of them, including Asaha, start calling her from that moment on just Lotte, so using her first name, and it's just a very cute moment, and you can tell that Princess Lotte and Asaha are definitely going to be good friends from then on. After this, we see a scene back at the palace where Naoya is in Asaha's room, and he finds a note that's from Princess Lotte, and she says, you know, I'm sorry about yesterday, P.S. the meatballs were good. So, not the best apology letter ever, but for a princess who doesn't like to apologize and is as haughty as Princess Lotte, that's probably about as good as it's gonna get. So, this was a cute episode. Not a lot of action-packed scenes or sort of fan moments in this one, but still very enjoyable. And I will continue watching. I promise I will get up the rest of these Astarottes Toys episodes more quickly. It's 10:30 p.m. now in the evening, and I probably have about another 30 minutes in me before I crash for the night. So I will get more Astarottes Toy episode recaps up as soon as possible. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I feature lots of kawaii things from kawaii fashion hauls. Also, I do a lot of Japanese cooking on my website, and I do a lot of anime reviews. So if you like any of those things, please subscribe and come back and visit me here at the Life Kawaii. Thanks guys. Bye.